started.
Welcome to the Tech Ranch, where we explore the world of living with technology. Get ready to take a deep dive into the latest gadgets, apps, and innovations with your hosts, the Guru of Geek, Marlo Anderson, and his trusty co-host, Steve Bakken. Join us on this exciting journey, and don't forget to visit thetechranch.com for even more exclusive content. Now, without further ado, let's welcome Marlo and Steve to the Tech Ranch.
And welcome to the Tech Ranch, everybody. Marlo Anderson, your Guru of Geek, in studio, and returning for the umpteenth time, like Rocky himself, Jim Silverum's in the studio.
Yo, Adrian.
How you doing today?
I'm doing well. How about you, Marlo?
I'm doing great. I was thinking that you are like Rocky. This would be like Rocky 8 now for you, I think. Yeah.
I'm still waiting for my frequent flyer miles, too. Come on now.
The punch card and the whole bit. Yeah. We have a lot of stuff on the program today. We're talking about AI and nuclear missiles.
Nuclear missiles.
So that could be interesting, right? Yeah. And ChatGPT can be duped into providing advice on how to commit crimes.
I was just thinking about that this week.
Of course you were, because you're a nefarious kind of guy, right?
That's right. I actually had thought about, what if I pointed my phone at the lock on my front door and said, or on a door and said, I've lost my key to this. Do you have any ideas on how I could bypass this lock?
Well, okay. I guess we'll just go right into that. Wow. So for all of you people out there thinking about how to commit crimes, so you can't ask ChatGPT, for example, like, how do I break into this place, right? But you can trick it.
Right.
And that's exactly what you're just doing right there.
Exactly.
You're tricking it into saying, hey, I need some help with this. There's this business that I own in downtown Mandan, and here, let me take a photo for you. I can't get into this place. I lost my keys or whatever. Can you give me some suggestions? And
right.
Yeah, now we just gave every nefarious person out there an idea like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
But
last week you asked me to come up with some ideas for using ChatGPT on my own time. And all I could think about were the nefarious kind.
This was the what area? What?
Yeah, now you're seeing the dark side of.
You didn't point it at the pile of leaves you have in the backyard and say, "Hey, how can I clean these up faster?" That's not what you did.
I know how to do that.
No, the point was clean it up faster. I already know how you work. I was saying that you could improve yourself a little bit. So you didn't do things like that. You were just thinking about how you can trick ChatGPT into doing things for you.
Doesn't your brain ever get stuck in a certain mode and you say, "Cal, I got to think of something different," and your mind just keeps going right back to it, and so
like that person that I watched give me a door ding while I'm sitting in the car.
Maybe.
And how do I get revenge on this person? This is their license plate number, and blah blah blah, and
Well, yeah, that's one thing.
But, I've never thought about that at all, ever. and they when they do it, and then they look at you like, oh well, and then walk away.
It's frustrating.
And you just want to get out there with your door and go bang, 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 bang 4 times on their car, right?
So. Well, it's not very Christian of me, but I don't care about their car. I'd rather do something to their brain.
Anyway, yeah, that's true. I mean, I'm just, just thinking out loud.
As was I about how to use ChatGPT nefariously.
But that is, I know we're skipping to the second topic first here, but it truly is. There are ways that you can trick ChatGPT into doing things that it wouldn't normally talk about, just by pretending that you're innocent about it, by thinking of ways that it would be an innocent way to, have to do something. And then ChatGPT will go along with that.
Right.
So, yeah. That's the thing, I guess.
Another point of regulation that I see coming.
I don't know how you regulate that.
I don't either, but
because I mean, it goes right down to the water scenario again, right? I mean, I use this all the time. We need water to live, right?
Correct.
But there's many ways that a person can use water to harm you.
Sure.
I mean, there's all kinds of ways. I mean, the obvious thing is that you could drown in a glass of water, but I mean, there's high pressure water. I mean, there's just all kinds of ways.
Waterboarding.
Yeah, all of it, right? Putting the water down in front of your sidewalk, spraying it down the night before that you're going to go out to work and you slip on the ice.
Okay, grumpy old man.
These are all things that are possible. I forgot about that scene in that movie. That was a hilarious scene too. Yeah. But I mean, these are things that, I mean, I don't care what you pick on. I mean, I can pick on everything that's in the studio right now and tell you a way that you could use this for harm.
Even the person sitting across from you.
Yes, exactly. So I understand when people go to that, but it's always been that way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when computers first came out, it was that way. When the vehicle came out, it was that way. I'm guessing even when the fax machine and the phone came out, it was that way. People were thinking, well, you know, people will use the phone to communicate with other people in other parts of the country and maybe figure out ways they can get together and rob somebody or whatever it would be, right? I mean, it's always been that way.
Yep.
So you can't dwell on it because it always has been that way and it always will be. Somebody will figure out a way. But what's interesting about it is that I feel like when there's new ways to break the law, the old ways seem to be forgotten about.
Let's hope so.
It does seem that way, though, doesn't it?
Yes, in a way. Mm-hmm.
So I think that there's some value to that.
Yeah. But let's face it, in today's day and age, you and I pretty well know that since Congress can't get much done anyway, they'll probably try and regulate this too and find another way to spend time chasing their tails.
Yes, absolutely. Don't get me started on that.
Well, it's something that will add to your absurdist podcast.
That's true.
In the future.
That is true. The absurdity of government will be one of the topics one of these days. So yeah, I mean, there's no doubt that all artificial intelligence can be used to break laws, help you if that's what you are so intent on doing. Mm-hmm. Will help you. But it's like. It's no different than you going to your friend and saying, "Hey, you know, I'm not a locksmith, but I know you kind of are. I mean, can you give me some advice on how to break into my house?" Well, sure, you could do this and you could do that, you know, and the person is innocent about it, doesn't really know that it's not your house. You just being a nice person and giving you advice, you know. I mean, that's what AI is doing, right?
Except when they you take them to a mansion and they know don't.
I guess there is that. So yes. Anyway, after the break, everybody, we will continue our conversation. We're going to get into war games with artificial intelligence. That's a little lead into maybe a movie we watched 40 years ago.
Welcome back to the Tech Ranch. Let's get back to discovering the latest in technology with the guru of geek, Marlo Anderson.
And we are back, everybody. Back with the nefarious Jim Silrum. And
at your service.
Oh, that's right. I forgot your theme music again.
Yeah.
Always steady. Always working out.
That's
getting ready for his next movie.
Right back at you, Marlo.
Yeah, thanks. Have you watched Tulsa King yet?
I haven't.
Speaking of Sylvester Stallone, excellent.
Is it?
Oh my goodness, and I know he writes it and he produces it, but it was certainly a role made for Sylvester Stallone. It is excellent.
Okay,
excellent. So yeah, I mean, he's just this. I mean, it's a series. I think it's on Paramount, but it's certainly, I think they're running it on regular CBS now too. but they have to edit it down a lot. So I'm just telling you right now that it's more of an adult theme type of thing. But you have to. I would watch it that way. I'm not big on bad language and things either. But in this instance, he's like a good guy. He's like a bad guy who's a good guy type of thing. I mean, it's an interesting scenario and it's a lot of fun to watch. But anyway,
so like Breaking Bad,
I suppose. I've never watched it.
Haven't you?
No.
Okay.
So yeah, it would be interesting. I watched The Attorney. Who's the guy that's the attorney in Breaking Bad?
Oh,
Saul. Yes.
So Better Call Saul.
Yes. So that's like the prequel to it, isn't it? Or something along those lines?
I'm trying to remember if it's a prequel or sequel.
Oh, okay.
I thought it was a sequel.
Then maybe it is. I mean, that goes to show you that I've never watched Breaking Bad. Yeah, but I did like Better Off Saul. I thought that was pretty good. All right. So POTUS has ordered the national security agencies to harness new AI technology and prohibit the technology from launching nuclear weapons. So we're going to use artificial intelligence, but it can only be used to the point where it helps us, but it can't, you still have to have the president or whoever has the codes to launch the nukes, so to speak. So AI cannot do that.
Okay.
So it kind of reminds me of War Games, Matthew Broderick and all of that, right? And I find this scenario interesting. First of all, I don't think we have a choice because the people, the countries in the world they're just bad actors in the world, right?
Of course.
And they're going to use this. Mm-hmm. So in order for us to keep up with it, we have to use it too. And there's just no ifs, ands, or buts about it. That's just how it is. You and I, even though we have the human brain, and I'm just going to use this as an example. I mean, not everybody, if you're a pitcher at the major league level, right, and somebody hits a line drive back at you, that person might be able to catch the ball.
Yeah.
I mean, when you have a ball coming back at you at 120 miles an hour, and you're only 60 feet away from it, that's significant, right? But not most people, and this is what we're talking about here. It might not be the greatest analogy, but the reaction time that we have from our brain to our fingers, for example, is not even close, even though it seems like it's fast. And what I'm giving you is like crazy fast. Like you pitch this ball, all of a sudden this thing comes back at you, right? The computer has already figured it out 1,000,000 times already. I mean, the trajectory of the ball, all of this stuff. And so we can't react as fast. We can probably think as fast and we can be creative in ways that AI cannot be, but we don't have the reaction time. So when you're facing an AI, then what do? You have to have AI that can basically counter the AI that's coming at us.
It's true.
So
it's true.
I mean, that's just how I think we have to think about it.
Well, your lead into that made me think a whole different plan.
Okay.
I mean, just saying that you're saying that the president has come out with this order.
Yes.
In my mind, what political aide advised him to say this? Because he should stay away from that as far as possible and just allow his military to do the things that they're supposed to. But
my guess is that's exactly what happened here. And somebody, convinced, our president to do this.
I don't disagree that it's something that should be done, but it's like, it just frustrates me when they get such bad political advice.
Sure.
That you wonder if they're advising people wrong, the president wrong, or if the president is just ignoring advice.
In our country, and I won't get into my little local thing that just happened to me. It's not major, everybody. Not a big deal at all. It was just, I guess I'll give you the scenario. I got pulled over for having my tab in the wrong place on my driver's plate, on my license plate. I didn't even know this was a thing.
Okay.
But, and this just goes back a few years. In North Dakota, when you got a new car back a few years ago, you would have to have a new license plate with that. Well, they changed that a few years ago, and you now basically carry your license plate with you from car to car to car. Well, what happens, at least to me for the first time, I hadn't taken all the old tabs off.
Yeah. And
I guess lesson learned here, I just kept putting them on there, because they're difficult to take off, right? So this time, I get my light plaid tabs from last year, and I tried to put it on there, and I'm like, it's not even going to stick on this thing anymore. I mean, they're just like, it's a little bump, and it's all uneven and everything else. So I took it and I put it right below it.
Okay.
And I guess that's not legal. So anyway, I got pulled over for this. And then, which is fine. I mean, I don't have a problem with that. And then, of course, asked me for my driver's license and our registration and for my insurance. Well, I didn't have my current insurance card in the car either. So then I was written up for this. And it was stated to me that if I just showed proof of insurance within 2 weeks, that it would just be dismissed and no big deal, right? So I go over to show proof of insurance a few days later. It's on a Friday afternoon. They're only open till noon on Fridays, but there's a drop box. So I put it in the drop box and thought I was done with this, and this morning, I should say this morning, a couple days ago, actually, I open up my mail, and then here it is in my mail, this whole motion to dismiss and all this other stuff. This huge court proceeding that, I wouldn't say a huge one, but there was some type of proceeding that went on to dismiss this. And I guess I'll have to finish the story after the break.
And we're back. Don't miss a minute of the Tech Ranch as we explore the cutting edge of tech with Marlo and Steve. For more exclusive content, visit thetechranch.com.
I'm getting it here, Jim. I'm getting that story loaded back up here again. Oh, there we go. There we go.
Please be kind. Rewind.
You should never give me a sound effects board.
No, that's true.
Too much fun. So Jim Silverman in the studio, everybody. And I was just talking about my woe with the not having my current insurance card in my car when I was pulled over for not having my license plate tab in the right location. And the officer was just doing his job. So I don't have a problem with that at all. In fact, it was I had a great little conversation. I was kind of laughing about it, and then he said, well, if you just show proof of insurance in 2 weeks, then they just dismiss it. So anyway, a couple days ago, I got a letter in the mail, a letter and the address is typed out on the letter. And because I went in and I showed proof of insurance, but they were closed and they had a drop box. So I dropped it in there and that was that. So, so I get this letter from the office that represents the city, that the charges are dismissed. And I'm like, who came up with all of this? I'm like, I wasn't charged anything, not a fee of any kind. Now I would imagine, I think if I hadn't showed it in 2 weeks, there's like $150 fine for that, right? So, but I did, and there's no fine, and I'm like, this literally cost the city hundreds of dollars to process this. Who's making this decision? And I don't mean to, I felt like, this is just the entrepreneur in me. I opened that thing up, and I didn't even think anything about the fact that it was dismissed. I'm thinking to myself, I would never allow this in my business.
Yeah.
This is crazy. And I forget why I got on this story now, Jim.
Because I went down the road of saying, in the world would the president be the one to say,
right.
Use AI for war games.
So I'm just thinking, in this scenario on a local level, all the way up to the president, who's lobbying the president? Because who lobbied our local city here to have this process go through? Of course, it has to be the firm representing the city, because it's a half hour of billables at $682 an hour, so now they get whatever the number is. I'm just making up a number. But attorneys are not cheap, and they probably get some type of a discount for representing the city. I'm sure they do. The city does, but it's still, I'm sure, expensive. And, now you take it to the president, is Google or Microsoft or Facebook or Meta, I should say, lobbying the president that this is a good thing and that, we have the best AI. So it should be our AI that we're going to charge you $1.5 billion a year for to run the security of our country. I'm just throwing that out there.
I can almost assure you, Marlo, that it isn't any one of those companies that is lobbying the president, but it's his aides that are probably hearing from companies like this, and then they go back and say this is a good thing to say or not say. But again,
and I'm only picking on those companies because those are the companies that we know.
Sure.
There are plenty of companies that are in the AI space, cybersecurity space, all of these things that are not well-known companies, but are still multi-billion-dollar companies that do these type of things.
Mm-hmm.
But I agree with you. I think that's, somewhere along the line, somebody who speaks to the president had been informed by somebody that this is the route we should be taking. And over a cup of coffee, you explain to this person, because this is how lobbying goes, right? Over a cup of coffee or dinner or whatever. And I think it's illegal to do those type of things though, but short meetings, right? There's no way humanly possible that you can explain the benefits or the challenges that AI bring to monitoring the security of our country over a cup of coffee.
Right.
So you have that amount of time because they have 100 other people they also have to talk to about the ag issue we have, or the drought going on, in the Dakotas, and, the hurricane that smashed into, New Orleans. And I'm just, of course, making all this stuff up. But the president and its president's aides, although maybe dedicated to some of these things, they're dealing with multiple things at any given time, and they're probably not specialists at any of them.
True.
Okay.
Some of them, like I would guess those on the national security team, are very much specialists.
Sure. So I agree with that.
So I wouldn't just go across the board saying they're not specialists.
I guess I'm talking about would the person who runs the security administration have the ear of the president, or would that person have to report to one of the president's people who
both.
Then would, okay.
Both.
Okay.
Security is that important, to this country. So, yes, they meet regularly with the president, but all of that has to go through the chief of staff and those that are making sure that the president is spending his time on the things that needs to be covered.
So it's interesting, right? And I don't know how I feel about this. I mean, as you know, I'm a huge AI person. I mean, I use it so much in my day. I get so much more done in my 8-hour day now that would probably take me 12 or 16 hours a day to do. I mean, that's how much I like AI, that it's almost given me kind of my life back, because before I couldn't keep up. I still really can't keep up because I'm doing more, but I have this ability, like if I need a presentation done next hour, I mean, I don't stress out about it anymore.
Sure.
Because I can just hop into AI and actually get something that's actually pretty good done in an hour.
Right.
So that's pretty incredible when you think about that.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
You still have to put in the raw information.
Absolutely. It still has to come from someplace. But this ability to arrange things in a very wonderful presentation and stuff is a great tool.
Absolutely.
It really is. So anyway, we just, I don't know if you're weighing on one side or not on the AI thing with security, but we're just informing people about that. This is what's going on. And I guess if you have concerns about it, maybe reach out to your legislative team on the national side, and let them know how you feel about this. And maybe it's something that's important to you. Maybe it's something that you just think we should be doing already.
Maybe.
So, all right, everybody. After the break, we will continue on with the Tech Ranch.
Thanks for staying with us on the Tech Ranch. Let's rejoin Marlo and Steve as they guide us through the fascinating world of technology.
All right, Jim, here you go. Everybody's going to say, hey, stop playing the song in the middle of it. Let it play out.
Oh.
Oh, there we go.
Otherwise.
Oh, you want me to stop it now?
No, I was thinking they're going, oh, come on, guys, please. None of you are rocking.
I'll bring that down a little bit now. Well, that might be true, but I see you working out. I see you hanging upside down doing sit-ups and all of this as this song is playing.
You do? Okay.
I don't know why that one scene, I don't know if that was from Rocky, like 3 or 4, maybe it was 5. You know, he's in this cabin and he's like, this, you know, they got the loft and he's got his knees, you know, he's hanging over the end of this thing, and for whatever reason, he's doing sit-ups that way. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And, you know, and he does these things. He doesn't have like a stunt double in there working out like that. I mean, how long did it take him to get in that kind of shape to do that?
Long time.
Yeah.
Long time.
Yeah. Impressive, I guess. All right, everybody. We're going to talk about, this is kind of cool, actually. Are you a Prime member, Amazon Prime?
I am.
Okay. I think a lot of people are. I think there's 100 and some million people that are Prime members, which is incredible when you think about that. 100 and some million people that pay $129 a year now. Is it 100 or is it 149? It's somewhere in there.
Good question.
It used to be $99, and then they've slowly taken it up a little bit. So this is kind of cool. And so if you're an Amazon Prime member, you can save 10 cents a gallon on gasoline.
Okay.
So Prime members can visit Amazon.com/fuel savings. So /fuel savings, FUELSAVINGS, and to activate the offer. You'll also need a free Earnify account. So that's EARNIFY, which is associated with BP. And these two accounts will be connected once you activate the offer, which you only have to do once. So you just do this once, and that's just, you know, and then do that. And then after that, any of the nearest BP, Amoco, or AM/PM gas stations, so you get 10 cents a gallon off.
Yeah.
Simple as that.
Yeah. I think Walmart does a similar sort of thing with the Walmart Plus, but I always look at it and go, okay, where's the closest station?
Right. So with Walmart Plus, is that like with Sam's Club as well?
Well, they have, I can't remember who they associate with, but it's certain gasoline.
So not just a Sam's Club, there are other brands in there as well.
Right.
I guess kind of the point I'm getting at and why I'm bringing this up is that I'll be the first to say that I complain a little bit about the cost of my devices. You know, sure. and it's just human nature. I mean, and I pay more than average. I think Alice and I we pay like $230-$240 a month for our two phones. That does include the cost of the lease or rent or us buying the phone. I mean, you get a 2.5 year thing, however they figured out. I did the math on it one time, by the way. The phone costs $1,000 if you buy it outright, or they take it over 36 months, and it still costs $1,000. There's never a benefit to buying them straight out most of the time, which is frustrating to me because I would just buy them and save the money. But anyway, with that said, you and I have talked about this before, but these devices, this device that we carry with us is a huge money saver for us. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely.
So, and I know I'm kind of putting you on the spot right now, but what are the things that you think you do with your smart device that save you money just right off the top of your head?
Oh, well, just right off the top of my head, I no longer have to worry about finding a place because I just put it into into GPS and my phone takes me there.
So what are the cost savings to you there? Explain in detail what it is that where you're saving money at here.
I'm not spending time looking it up on a map. I'm not spending time driving around a neighborhood to find the particular address. I'm saving money on the gas that I'm not using to drive around to those various areas. So, yeah, that's just off the top of my head.
And even just that efficiency of getting to a place. Like, there's many times 4 or 5 or 6 different ways to get there. It generally will show you the shortest route. And sometimes it'll show you like a couple other routes. This could be quicker, but it's a little longer type of thing, But
and sometimes it shows you where the traffic,
right?
Especially for us this year with the Grant Marsh Bridge,
right,
going across the Missouri River for the interstate. It would show if it was backed up, then we could take one of the other bridges going across the river.
So that's interesting you bring that up because. A lot of us drive from point A to point B every day.
Yep.
Right. And in your commute, for example, that you would do every day would take you across the Grant Marsh Bridge, which, by the way, is on our interstate here between Bismarck and Mandan, North Dakota, where both Jim and I live. So you take that bridge every day. You don't need the directions.
No.
Don't need it. But you would still put it in, wouldn't you? Because you want to know what the traffic conditions are and if it would be quicker to actually, take a different bridge or whatever. It might be a couple miles longer, but you're going to get there significantly quicker because of that.
Sure.
Yeah.
In our community, it's not usually because of traffic. It's usually because of road construction,
right, or
something like that. But it factors all of those things in. And so in a city, it would be, hugely important to know whether the tunnel going into New York City is going to be clogged, and
right.
So you would take an alternate route. Again, it would take you longer, but if that route has steady moving traffic on it, great. You're not stop and go.
Right, exactly. And which eventually saves you gasoline.
It does.
Yeah. And what about buying a map? When's the last time you bought a map?
Well, I think the last time I bought it was one of those, U.S. atlases.
Okay.
I always keep in my car just because I'm nostalgic that way.
Yep.
But it's been a long time.
Especially like city maps and things like that. I mean, I used to go. This is 20 years ago. I mean, when I was coming into a big city or whatever, driving, I would always stop at the perimeter of the city and buy a map because, you couldn't really pick them up where we live if you're going to Chicago because you had to get there.
Right.
But it was important to have these maps because it really was the only way to start understanding how to get around the towns, So, I agree with you. I think GPS is a huge, I can't even tell you. I mean, you might make your money back just on that feature alone every month.
Sure.
With the time savings and the gas savings. And time savings, you have to figure that in too. I mean, time is money to all of us. So
right.
No doubt that you have to do that. So we'll talk more about how you save money with your devices after the break.
If you have any questions or want to suggest topics for future shows, visit thetechranch.com and send us your thoughts. You can also listen to past episodes and watch exclusive interviews not featured on the radio show. Be sure to follow Marlo and Steve on social media by clicking the links at thetechranch.com. Until next time, keep exploring the world of living with technology. The Tech Ranch.
Jim, I've heard you want to be a podcast star.
Oh, I already am. Thanks to you, Marlo. I already am. I hear at least 2 or 3 people tune in just because it's me.
That's fantastic. It's great to have fans, Jim. I'm just telling you. Yeah. So, yeah, you, while we were talking before we were getting back into the studio here, you had mentioned something about maybe some of the things that I do in the podcast world that might help people. Mm-hmm. So, there's a couple things that I have learned, I guess. Have you seen the new labs that I wear? Okay, so lab, by the way, is short for lavalier. It's the microphone that you see when you like if you watch a morning news program or something, you'll see a little microphone clipped onto somebody's shirt or a tie or whatever. That is a lav, okay? As opposed to talking into a big microphone. And they're not as good as talking into the big microphone, of course, but they're also not in the way. You know, like you and I right now are talking into big microphones because we want the better quality, because we have shortcomings in our voices and they can fix that. Just saying. Anyway.
Speak for yourself, man. But I am operatic.
Yeah, you are. Absolutely. Absolutely. But yeah, these lavs are kind of nice. They clip on, they're Bluetooth. So the set that I have, there's a couple of them. Rode makes one, and we use Rode in our studio as well. We have the Rodecaster, that's our board here, and we use Rode mics. So we also have the Rode lavaliers, and they're Bluetooth, and then they connect to your phone. So if you have an iPhone or an Android or whatever, you can just connect it, and then that replaces the mic that is in your phone. So what's wonderful about that is that if you are doing podcasting or if you want to record a meeting, I use this a lot when I'm speaking, that I'll have the lav on and then it records to my phone, and then I can actually have I'll drop that into an AI afterwards, the transcript, and I can do a summary of the talk and the things that maybe I mentioned that I didn't know I would mention, you know, during there or whatever, and then send a summary to everybody that was at that, for example. And that quality is really good. It's fantastic. If you're in situations, though, where it's a noisy restaurant or something like that, and there's a lot of background noise, you can go to like Adobe Podcast, and they have a free service. And I would just type in Adobe Podcast if you're doing a search. And you can upload your audio to this, and within a few minutes, it does its whizzy bang, whizzy do thing, and within a couple of minutes, it'll sound like there was nobody in the background at all. It's absolutely phenomenal, and I've tested this in high wind. I've tested this in convention centers where you can barely hear yourself talking, and or hear yourself in the mix of things, and it comes back, and it's amazing. Now, I might not say that it's like radio quality, but it's pretty good. And, you know, if you have scenarios where you need to clean up that audio a little bit or whatever, if it's a little sketchy, it's amazing what's possible. And it's an AI that runs their algorithm on it, and bang, it's just amazing. So, questions there, Jim?
Well, are there things that over the years that you've been doing podcasts that like, when did you first start doing podcasts?
Well, I've never really purposefully done podcasts. It was always for radio. Okay. And then, you know, because when podcasting kind of came around, then, you know, you just kind of get graduated into it a little bit. The first thing I've done as a true podcast is the Absurdist, which is just a brand new show that Mary Murphy and I started about 3 months ago or so. So much fun, by the way. It is such a fun show. I want you on this show sometime. It's truly about, we talk about, one of my favorite episodes was warning labels. Like, why is it when you wear when you buy the Superman costume that there's a warning label on it that says that this costume does not allow you to fly? You know, things like that. These are the topics we talk about, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things in the podcasting world that are interesting, and you know what? We'll do one more segment on this because we're running up against the clock here, Jim, and we'll talk a little bit more about, you know, how you get your podcast out there and things like that, because I think that's interesting too, right?
Yeah, it is.
Supertalk 1270.
Welcome to November 9th on the National Day calendar, where German farmers' thriftiness created an American breakfast staple, and a real estate deal doubled the size of our nation.
Do you love to start the day with a smile? Join the Celebration Nation by picking up your very own National Day calendar. Visit our website, nationaldaycalendar.com, for our full-color printed guide to all the fun and unusual ways to celebrate every day.
Pennsylvania Dutch settlers had a problem: how to use every part of their precious livestock. Their ingenious solution? Combining cornmeal with seasoned pork trimmings into a savory loaf. This waste not, want not recipe became Scrapple, America's first breakfast meat. On this National Scrapple Day, we celebrate how frontier resourcefulness turned leftovers into a beloved tradition.
Oh, Scrabble, Scrabble, the best meat in the land. Oh, Scrabble.
Scrapple just seems like something I would want to try. I've never had it.
I've never had it, but I mean, I think you should definitely try it and then tell me how it is.
Well, do that. I'll send you a report. In 1803, a desperate French emperor needed quick cash for his wars. His hasty decision? Selling France's American territory for pennies an acre. Napoleon Bonaparte's fire sale became the Louisiana Purchase, instantly doubling America's size for just $15 million. On this Louisiana Day, we remember how one emperor's financial crisis gave America its heartland.
My favorite place in Louisiana has to be New Orleans, hands down.
Never been. I had an opportunity to go once, but a hurricane stopped it.
Okay, so you have to go because they have the best food literally in the world.
Some etouffee and some gumbo.
Oh my gosh. And then, listen, I could go on, but literally everything there is amazing. I found like this hole in the wall place and I was like sketchy, but the best fish, and it came in like a foil, folded foil, and it was like amazing. It's crazy.
Okay, I'm on the next flight.
I think I'm going with you. I'm LaToya Johnson.
I'm Chris Vandeventer.
Thank you for joining us on our journey to celebrate every day.
And join us for all of our adventures on Facebook and Instagram at Destination Celebration Show. Until next time, keep celebrating.
My co-hosts on the weekend version of Arm World Travel, Robert and Mary Carey, have taken the Let's Go America tour to the Mediterranean, where they're on a seaborne cruise with some of our listeners. If cruising the Mediterranean is on your bucket list, here's some advice. From America's #1 travel radio show, this is your Arm World Travel Minute. I'm Rudy Maxa. Late spring, early summer, and late summer, early fall are ideal times to visit climate-wise. Not too hot, certainly not too cold. But you can cruise in the winter, too, and you'll find prices lower. Unless you're splashing out for an unusually large cabin, pack carefully. Men may need a sport coat to dine in upscale restaurants, but don't overpack because cabin space can be at a premium. If you've never been on a large cruise ship, you might wonder how you will amuse yourself while sailing. Don't worry, there are plenty of lovely distractions. And one of the benefits of a Mediterranean cruise is you'll have a number of shore excursions as opposed to, say, a transatlantic cruise. Oh, and book early. Cruising is very popular, though there are often great deals for folks who can book at the last minute if there are unsold cabins. You'll find more travel info at armworldtravel.com.
Supertalk 1270. KLXX AM, Mandan, Bismarck, a Town Square media station, broadcasting from the View Community Credit Union studio.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Authorities in Amsterdam say 4 people remain in custody in the Netherlands following the violent attacks on Israeli soccer fans. Prosecutors say they'll appear in court, and they're also investigating if there was an organized connection to the violence. ABC's Britt Clinton is in Tel Aviv.
Amsterdam is now banning demonstrations for 3 days with emergency measures in place after what authorities described as hateful anti-Semitic violence against Israeli soccer fans. Now, police are launching a major investigation into this, and ABC is learning that 63 people were detained. 4 remain in custody, including 2 minors.
A meeting has been set between President Biden and President-elect Trump. The White House says both will meet in the Oval Office on Wednesday to discuss the transition. Those Santa Ana winds in Southern California calmer today, giving fire crews a chance to corral the massive wildfire that destroyed more than 200 structures this week and burned through 20,000 acres. This is ABC News. This week, a federal judge in New York warned Rudy Giuliani that he could be held in contempt if he fails to turn over property by next week. It's part of the $148 million judgment for defamation of 2 Georgia poll workers in the 2020 election. Giuliani has yet to surrender his shares in his Upper East Side Manhattan co-op apartment, valuable sports memorabilia, a Mercedes convertible, and luxury watches. ABC's Aaron Katursky says so far Giuliani not complying.
Giuliani's attorney says, well, some of it's in a storage unit, some of it they don't have any control over. I've overheard Giuliani whispering that he doesn't know where some of the sports memorabilia is. He owes all of this stuff to Freeman and Moss after defaming them during the 2020 election, and he just hasn't complied yet.
The World Championship of Pickleball, the nation's fastest growing sport, taking place in Dallas, Texas this weekend. I'm Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
Give the star in your life the brightest gift in the world. Name a star after them. This is Rocky Moselle with International Star Registry. For $59 and a call to 800-282-3333 or visit starregistry.com, you can name a star for birthdays, weddings, or even memorials. Over 45 years, we have named millions of stars for celebrities and individuals from around the world. The star you name will be recorded in book form in the U.S. Copyright Office. Visit starregistry.com or call 800-282-3333.
Do you hear that? Asthma triggers are everywhere, from dust mites, pet dander, and pollen, to smog and smoke. An asthma attack can strike anywhere, anytime. Be prepared with quick-acting Primatene Mist. Clinically proven to open airways quickly. It's the #1 FDA-approved asthma inhaler available over the counter. Primatene Mist. Breathe easy again. Use as directed.
Supertalk 1270, Bismarck area weather.
With weather, I'm Corey Hartman. For today, rain is likely, highs near 50. Tonight, mostly cloudy, lows around 37. Mostly sunny for Sunday, with highs in the mid-50s. Clouds and breezy Sunday night, lows around 30. Little breezy for Veterans Day Monday, otherwise mostly sunny and 43. If you're looking for a new place to live, stay, work, or play, check out Worthington, Minnesota. It's worth a look. It's 51 at our studios.
From ABC Sports, I'm Joey Waller. Right now, college football third quarter scores. Ohio State busting Purdue 24-0. Will Howard 2 touchdown passes. Georgia Tech surprising Miami 14-10. Texas all over Florida 35-0. Quinn Ewers 4 touchdown tosses 2 to Matthew Golden. Minnesota's gone up 16-14 at Rutgers. Boston College and Syracuse tied at 14, and West Virginia a 24-7 lead at Cincinnati. Pitching phenom Roki Sazaki's Japanese team saying today it'll begin the process of posting him, paving his entry into MLB next season. NBA last night against the Warriors. Streaking Cavaliers bury the Golden State team as Coach Kenny Atkinson in Cleveland extend their franchise record start to 10-0.
It's a little bit of a, kind of magic number, right? 10 and we're playing really good basketball.
Meanwhile, Knicks hand the Bucks their 6th straight loss, dropping Milwaukee to 2-7. Ouch. Giannis complaining Milwaukee lacks effort.
As a leader of this team, you can not be down. You can be frustrated at times, for sure. I'm frustrated. If you're not frustrated with losing, get out of here.
College hoops. The university newspaper The Alligator first reporting Florida basketball coach Todd Golden's the subject of a Title IX investigation over allegations of sexual harassment and stalking from multiple women, including students. Number 11 Auburn tonight visiting 4th-ranked Houston. En route there yesterday, the flight crew ordering the Tigers plane to return to Alabama, telling ground control 2 players were fighting. They're reportedly Ja'Kai Howard and Jaheim Hudson. A replacement flight later used. No comments so far from Auburn on the matter there. Bizarre story indeed. Meanwhile, NHL matinee as we speak. They're in the second period. Flames 2, Wild nothing. Joey Waller, ABC Sports.
Bioptimizer's Black Friday blowout sale is now. For 20 years, Bioptimizers has provided top supplements like Magnesium Breakthrough, the only product with all 7 types of magnesium to support sleep, stress management, hormone balance, and mood. Make your health a priority this holiday season and visit bioptimizers.com/radio and use code RADIO to get a minimum of 10% off and up to $100 in free gifts with purchase. Go to bioptimizers.com/radio and use code RADIO.
Offer not valid in all states or where prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Honey, the credit card bill came, and we're maxed out.
Maxed out cards, rent is due. We just need some extra cash to help us get by.
Maybe we should go to 27cash.com.
With our bad credit?
27cash.com is one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with any type of credit get up to $5,000, and cash can hit our bank account as soon as tomorrow.
When you need extra cash, go to 27cash.com. That's 27cash.com. 27cash.com.
Conservative talk without apology. The Regular Joe Show with Joe Gigante. Weekday evenings at 9 on Supertalk 1270 and the free Supertalk 1270 mobile app.
Portions of the following program are pre-recorded.
Welcome to the Tech Ranch, where we explore the world of living with technology. Get ready to take a deep dive into the latest gadgets, apps, and innovations with your hosts, the Guru of Geek, Marlo Anderson, and his trusty co-host, Steve Bakken. Join us on this exciting journey, and don't forget to visit thetechranch.com for even more exclusive content. Now, without further ado, let's welcome Marlo and Steve to the Tech Ranch.
And the one and only Jim Silverum in studio again. Hey, we're talking about how you save money using your cell phone, your smart device, whatever you call it. And on the last segment, we talked a lot about GPS and the amount of time and money that saves. And the premise here, everybody, is that, yes, we might spend a lot on our devices. And the first thing is that most of us don't have a landline anymore, so you're not paying the fee for both a landline and a smartphone. So I think a lot of us have saved a lot of money there already. And then how much money does your smart device save you during the course of a month? So if you're spending $100 or $200 a month on your phone, is that $100 or $200 a month well worth the investment in the time and other savings that you get? And the first example was that with a couple of apps with Amazon that you can save 10 cents a gallon on fuel. Jim brought up that Walmart and other entities do the same type of things. Then Jim brought up GPS and the amount of money and time that we save because we don't burn up all the fuel and all that stuff with that. So, all right. So that was the recap.
Yeah.
Did I miss anything?
No,
okay.
I didn't, but
okay.
I was thinking of another as well.
Yeah.
Most places today have price matching guarantees.
Okay.
So this weekend I was looking. I want to replace one of the televisions in our home, and I walked into a business. I asked them what the price was. I looked it up on my phone from another retailer and said, here you go. This is what I can get it for from there. Oh, okay, we'll match that. So I didn't have to go anywhere. I didn't have to, shop around by running store to store.
Yeah.
I was able to get it for the price that the lowest price I could.
So that ability to prove that somebody else has it for the lower price saved you money at the store, plus the time and dollars it would have taken for gas or whatever to go to other stores to shop or whatever. So I'm guessing you saved a little bit. It was worthwhile to do that?
Yeah, like $50.
Okay.
So
very good. All right. So how much a month do you think you save because you don't have to drive all over the place anymore to find things?
That's a good question. I haven't done the calculations on that. I wouldn't even have a guess.
Would you say $30? Do you think that's reasonable without having to buy maps and everything else and directly driving to the place, or are you thinking I'm a little too high?
Well, just from the example you gave in our community, I wouldn't say it's that high, but when I combine other things that I use my phone for.
Right. And I'm just thinking on the GPS thing. I think for me, I save more than that but I also travel a lot.
Sure.
And, I don't want, I know what it's like when you're in a community that you don't know and you're trying to figure out where you're trying to get to. I mean, it can be challenging sometimes. So, but yeah, okay. So give me a number. What do you think you save in gas and maps? Would you say $100 a year?
Easily.
Okay. So let's just say $10 a month there. And then the price matching thing you just brought up.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think that's worth to you?
Well, I only use it on larger ticket items.
Okay.
I don't really do that.
Would you say you save?
Get this celery for, stock celery for this price at the other grocery store. But, and I don't buy high-end items every month.
Yep.
So,
Would you save $100 to $120 a year doing that?
Sure.
Okay. All right. Well, where else do you save money with your device? Oh, now I have them thinking.
Yeah, you do.
You might have to pull your phone out and look at your apps now.
Just in terms of communication alone, you and I are old enough that we remember the day that yes, we've always lived with telephones, but you probably were just like me and had like one phone in the house, and so if somebody was on the phone, well, you couldn't use it.
Right.
But now there's never an obstruction to that. You can use it whenever. You can call somebody, you can text somebody, you can interrupt them in a meeting, you can do things like that you never could before.
When's the last time you paid long distance?
Oh, it's been a couple decades, I think.
Okay. But it's because of the smart device that we don't pay long distance fees anymore.
Yeah. We used to pay minute fees.
Yes. Nights and weekends.
Oh, that was
I'd wait till after 8 at night to make long distance calls because you had the night and weekend plan that you could pay 8 cents a minute or whatever it was.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Or else there was your number of minutes that were allotted in a given month.
Right.
Were during busy peak hours of 8 to 5. But
and even smartphones were that way for a long time.
That's what
you only got so much. Yeah. Where now it's just blanket. So yeah, to me the cost savings alone in long distance fees.
Oh yeah,
pays for the smart device
for sure.
There's no doubt about it because my 2 decades ago, easily, I mean, I would have a $200 to $400 a month long distance bill with no problem.
Absolutely.
So that wasn't a big deal at all back then. So just that alone pays for your smart device by not having long distance. So I don't, during the break, I'm going to have to go grab my smartphone because I don't even have it in here, which is really a good thing for me. What else do you use your device for?
Well, we talked about it a lot last week, but I use it extensively for my Audible subscription.
Okay.
Listening to books. So,
right.
And
do you save money over book purchases with that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. Even just not having to go to the store to buy a book, but
sure.
Just grabbing it online, and so there's that.
And how many books do you think you used to buy in a year?
I don't have a specific number, but certainly more than 10.
Okay. And how? Well, first of all, how many books do you consume a year now with Audible?
Close to 40.
Okay, so you actually consume more than you used to because of the app, and you're paying less per book.
Yeah, absolutely.
Easily for it too. So that's interesting. Jim, I think you're missing one of the most obvious things, by the way, and we'll get to that after we come back from the break, everybody.
The Tech Ranch.
I'm Tinsel. And I'm Snowflake. We're the DQ
Thanks for staying with us on the Tech Ranch. Let's rejoin Marlo and Steve as they guide us through the fascinating world of technology.
And if you're just joining us, we are talking about how you can use your phone to save money.
And you were just about to embarrass me because I supposedly am missing the the biggest one for saving money.
Well, first of all, I'm going to go through everything again. You brought up GPS and how that saves us money. You brought up Audible. Yes. You brought up long distance, which is a big one. There's one. What am I missing?
The gas savings.
Gas savings, Amazon and Walmart or whatever these. And basically they're kind of loyalty type of programs. Everybody seems to have some type of loyalty program nowadays, and they do save you money. Mm-hmm. I will say that, even like the Delta app that I use when I fly or whatever, I mean, the ability to track and do all this other stuff really does save me a lot of money over the long haul. So that's good. Did you ever take photographs before the telephone? Phone?
Of course I did.
Did you?
Yeah.
So talk me through that. What was that like, Jim? For people who might not know what it was like to take a photo before your smart device had photo taking capability in it.
Well, everybody had to buy 35 millimeter film.
Well, you didn't. Oh, film, yes, or whatever, 126 or whatever. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if you were like me, because I always had a SLR camera.
Yeah.
So
what does SLR? What does SLR stand for?
Now you're really drawing
single lens reflex.
Single lens reflex. Yes. Thank you for helping me out there.
I think some people would say reflection sometimes too, but it was basically mirrors that would reflect the image. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you'd have to buy the film. You'd have to load the film. You'd take your pictures, and there was no erasing one if you didn't like the shot you got because you didn't know what shot you got, because then after you finished the roll, you would safely extract it from the camera, take it to a film development store, and back in the day, you used to have to wait at least a couple of days before you could get your pictures back, and then you got your pictures back and you realized, the light settings were all off or something like that, and you'd wind up doing something creative with the pictures you didn't like. I always, for fun, I used to take those pictures I didn't like and include them with the payments on my bill that I would send back to the gas company or the phone company. Yeah,
this is what we did with the gasoline that we bought from your company. Oh my goodness, I can't see anything on this thing. It's just white. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
But, yes, it was, and then, boy, was it something when it came to 1 hour photo, but you still had to take a full roll because you were wasting money if you just took a picture and then went and got the whole roll developed.
Right. Because you got charged if you had one picture or 26 pictures, whatever it was on the roll. Yeah. I forget how many there were on a roll, actually.
Usually, 36 was pretty standard. Okay. But you were charged for that roll of film, regardless of whether you took 10 or 36 of them.
Right.
And if you took a bad picture, well, that's just your tough luck.
Yeah.
You weren't doing
There's another 40 cents gone or whatever it was. Yeah. So you had to buy the film. You had to pay for the processing. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's right. How did you take them?
With a camera.
Did you have to pay for the camera as well?
Oh, many. Yes. Yes, you could buy those, I think Kodak was one that had disposable cameras where you just buy the camera and then take it into the store and for processing.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people and I think some people still do that, like at weddings. They'll drop an instant, or they'll put a camera on everybody's table, and then they'll go and have them processed afterwards or whatever. Or maybe there's a chip that goes in them now, but I feel like they're still filming those, and everybody can take their favorite photos of the wedding or whatever in that way. But generally speaking, yeah, you had and how much was a good camera back then, Jim?
Oh, well, it was back in the day, so it was, a different economy than we have now. But, if I were paying $500 for a camera, that was really a lot of money back then.
Yeah. And you would.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I remember my first DLR was, I think, about $800.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And most of them were manual. You had to manually,
advance the film.
Yeah. And some of them are automatic in that regard, but as far as, framing a photo or whatever, if you're going to zoom in on somebody or whatever, it wasn't just touching the screen and zooming in and it was instantly focused. You had to manually focus your lens and do all of this stuff. It was expensive to take photos.
It really was.
And I don't think, at least our younger people, have no clue what that was like and probably don't even understand, when they see a photo that's 120 years old now or whatever. I mean, those people had to stand there for a while. I mean, some of the first photos were 10 minutes long.
Right.
10 minutes. You had to stand there for 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Try not to move.
Yes.
Good luck with that. So, yeah, I mean, and there was a time that people didn't smile for photos because of that scenario, because it was hard to hold a smile for a long period of time. So you would basically not smile so that your photo would turn out. Yeah, it's quite amazing. And when you look at the cost of a camera 20 years ago or 30 years ago, 40 years ago to today's economy, the camera, in my opinion, costs more than what one of the nicest phones you could buy nowadays.
Sure.
No doubt about it.
Mm-hmm.
So just that feature alone pays for your phone, in my opinion.
True.
So,
of course, at the same time, I still have my first SLR.
Do you really?
Yeah.
I sold this is crazy. I bought the first Minolta autofocus back in like 86 or something like that. And I bought it for $800. And about 4 years ago, I ran across it. I'm like, well, this is interesting. I haven't used this camera in 20 some years, so I put it on eBay and got more for it than what I paid for it.
Sure.
And I'm like, and of course, by today's money compared to then, it's different. But I was pretty impressed by the fact that I got more for it now than I did back then. But people still like the nostalgia of the cameras. There's no doubt.
Oh, for sure.
So,
and that's why I keep mine. My brother gave me my first one, and that's the one that I still have. And that was in the 60s.
Very good.
You're listening to The Tech Ranch, where technology comes alive. Let's dive back into the conversation with Marlo and Steve. And don't forget to check out thetechranch.com for more.
And we're joined by the professional photographer, Jim Silrum. Jim, I appreciate that you joined the show today. Are you still shooting? You said you had a camera from the 60s yet. When's the last time you put film in it?
It's a long time ago.
Okay.
I'm not even sure where I'd buy the film anymore.
Interesting. So everybody, we're talking about how your smart device, your cell phone, whatever you call it, saves you money. And Jim and I got on the subject of photography and the significant savings that have come about because you're not buying the film, the processing, the camera. You could make the argument that anybody who took any amount of photos at all probably paid more in the day for film and processing than you do for your whole bill right now for your cell phone smart device. So,
and certainly you just didn't take as many pictures.
So what do you find yourself taking pictures of now that you would have never taken pictures of before?
Well, first, let me tell you what I still would not do. I do not take pictures of the food I'm about to eat so that I can text it out or tweet it out to the world or X it out to the world, whatever.
So I occasionally do, not very often, but I mean, if it's something special, I do. And I'll tell you why I take pictures though, because I know you've seen me take pictures of food. Alice, however, her following that she has on Facebook is because of
food.
And one food in particular.
Oh, I don't know.
Shrimp.
So
she does other food things too, but when we're traveling, she's always taking pictures of her different shrimp things. And I'm always amazed when we're out in public Of course, I have a lot of people that come up to me or whatever, but the people that come up to Alice are always like, hey, how was that shrimp at blah, blah, blah? And I'm like, and it's becoming more and more common all the time. So she has developed a shrimp following. So you can't say that it's not a thing. I take photos of food because I'm on Google Maps.
Yeah.
I forget what it is. I am oh my goodness.
Influencer.
Sure. But no, not in this instance, but they, why is it? I can't remember it is. But anyway, when you're in a place, you take photos of inside the place and like what they have for dishes and stuff, and then you post them up. So people, when they're looking at, do I choose this Mexican restaurant over this one? Those photos will help them choose when you're on like Photo Map or on Google Maps making that decision, and they give me points and stuff. There's a couple people in our community that Susie Marie, for example, she does a lot of that type of thing too. I mean, she has like, I forget how many views of her photos, like 80 million views. I have like 41 or 42 million. Not that matters to me a whole lot, although I find it funny when I post a photo and then it'll show you a chart about the engagement you have on these particular photos afterwards. I have some photos that have been viewed over 1 million times.
Okay.
And it's a picture of food. So there you go. Just sharing that with you.
So maybe I'm going to have to rethink my plans for this.
I don't know. I don't think you have to rethink it at all. It's just a matter of...
You don't want the competition.
That's right. I do not want Jim Stillrum running around taking photos of food and competing with me now. But I think each person can do their own little thing. But what else in the photo space that you would have never dreamed you would be taking photos of that you do now? Maybe.
Because of my, because of the way my vision has gotten to be over the years of my life, I now take photos of instructions that are too small to read on packaging, and then I just expand the image of it, and that way I can read it. You would have never done that back in the day. You would have gone out of your way to find a magnifying glass or some other way to take a look at.
That was exactly where I was going to go to. So I'm glad you beat me there. Another thing that's interesting with that, right, is that have you ever like taken a picture of a serial number, like you have a computer you need some work on or whatever, and you need this serial number, and this is, I guess, my world with computers, but anybody would have this issue, and it's been wore off a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
You can still take the photo, even though you can't see them, because you can take it into filters, and sometimes if you add a little more contrast to it, or just any of the filters, all of a sudden those numbers pop off of that. So,
sure.
That's another nice little feature with the phones we have nowadays. Have you taken any night photos at all?
Yes, and it's amazing the light filtering that is in today's average cell phone camera.
When you were using a DLR or any type of phone or any type of camera 20 years ago, did you ever try to take pictures of the night sky?
Yes, but you had to have a different type of film, and you had to have you had to open the aperture for a longer period of time. So it would have to be mounted on a tripod, and you still do that to some extent in today's day and age. But back in the day, that was a chore, and generally, if you wanted to do that significantly, you had a separate camera that was just for that purpose alone.
I mean, I marvel over this all the time. Because I'll be on my deck at night, because I love when it's clear outside and the midnight or so, it'll the traffic noise winds down a little bit or whatever. So I'll be out there looking at the sky, and I'll know. I mean, I have a tracker on my phone that shows where the satellites are and things like this, and I'll look for the satellites as they're coming across, especially like Skylab or whatever, right? And I'll see it streaking across the sky. The fact that I can take my cell phone my smart device, and point it to the sky, zoom in on it, and take a picture of it is beyond the imagination of anybody 20 years ago that would even be possible. Just to take a picture of a star was almost impossible. The moon wasn't an easy task back in the day. Certainly not a comet or anything like that. I mean, recently we had a comet that was close by, and to zoom in and take a picture of that was possible with anybody's cell phone nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that? That's just incredible.
Sure. And then the mounts, the cell phone mounts that you can get for your binoculars or telescopes.
Oh, yeah.
Are just dirt cheap.
Yeah.
And then you can add the magnification that those have, and it's truly phenomenal.
I would love to do that, actually. I would love to get a telescope that I can mirror or, partner with my phone and do that. I think it'd be fun to take shots of the moon and things like that. So, and we'll talk more about other ways you can save money after the break.
Welcome back to the Tech Ranch. We're thrilled to have you with us as we continue exploring living with technology alongside Marlo and Steve.
And just for the record, everybody, there is not a new Skylab floating around in space, as Jim so politely pointed out over the break. I meant the International Space Station. So if you're screaming at your radio right now that who is this geek guy who claims he knows all this stuff and he doesn't know the basic stuff, but
how long ago did Skylab come
It's been a while, yeah.
I thought you were looking it up during the break.
No, I should have, I guess. But Jim Silverman in studio. We're talking about how you save money with your device. We just spent a whole segment on photography and how much money. In fact, I think we've been a segment and a half now on that. But anything else in the photography space that you use your camera for on your smart device that you didn't used to use, like a digital SLR on?
Well, of course, there's the QR code that opens up a world of information. But you never used that a camera for that.
Sure.
In the first place, because they were never connected to the internet to be able to explore that. But that's huge. You've opened the door to me to augmented reality that you certainly didn't have with standard film camera.
Would you have taken a picture of the color of paint in your room and went and got it processed and then went over to Lowe's or Home Depot or whatever to match up the color of paint?
No.
But now we do that.
Yes, we do.
Take a picture of the room and then you go over and look. And I mean, it really is kind of endless, the possibilities with photography nowadays and beyond photography. That ability to see an image for whatever reason you can't read the menu, for example, in a dark restaurant. So you take a picture of it and then blow it up a little bit and there it is. You can read the menu. I mean, I see, and you don't even have to take the photo a lot of times in those situations.
Exactly.
Open the camera up and just magnify it a little bit and read it that way. I do that all the time nowadays.
Well, and of course, you don't have to carry a separate flashlight with you either.
That's correct.
Because you can use the flash on the camera for that.
I mean, how many lighters did you used to go through at concerts that you don't go through anymore? Jim, I'm going to put that down as a thing. Do you think that was $20 a year, $50 a year that you were spending on lighters at concerts?
You went to concerts more than I did, man. Oh, not me.
I love it when there's I forget where we were at. Somebody was doing REO Speedwagons. I can't remember the name of the song now. Stop screaming at me, everybody. But anyway, their most famous song. And of course, I look, and I'm kind of in the front of the auditorium. I look back, and everybody's got their smartphone with their flashlight on going. And I'm like, yeah, even in smaller venues, people are doing this. So it's too funny. All right. Anything else in the photography realm before we move on?
You know, I've always thought that photography was pretty well, there are some people who only use their camera to take pictures of people because they want to remember people.
Right.
Myself, I like to take pictures of scenery, and almost always forget to take a picture of people because my mind is so focused on beautiful things in creation. But there's so there is that, but you can also use your phones to take a picture of a significant landmark in an area, and then use apps within your phone to tell you where you are.
Sure.
If you're lost, and those can even be natural structures like mountains or certain buttes or things like that. It doesn't have to be just a building that has a name on it.
Right. So yeah, I think and that's just getting better all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Google Lens it comes to mind. I don't know if that project is still going on. I think they just put it in Google Photos now. So if you take a picture of something or you're focusing on something, there's an option that pops up that says, "Hey, you're at blah 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 statue. Would you like to know more?" And then you can actually it's becoming kind of commonplace now for those type of things, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
Great for the traveling public, So, all right. Anything else on photos?
Oh,
I guess we could go on and on and on here, couldn't we?
We certainly could, but it never was the case that when an accident was happening or a crime was taking place, people wouldn't automatically pull out their phones and take pictures. But now when that happens and there's any kind of a crowd, you can guarantee that at least half of the people will be recording what's going on.
Yeah.
And
there's some good, there's some bad with that. The good is that there's some type of recording that happens so that, when first responders or police or whatever start to investigate, they have something that they can view, right? Mm-hmm. Which is a big deal. On the other hand, a lot of people tend to pull their cameras out or their phones out first before coming to the aid of somebody.
Exactly.
Which is challenging to me.
Exactly.
So,
mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that should always be the first thing. But I understand. I mean, you live in a big city, you just never know what you're going to be dealing with. So people will just pull their phones out and record instead. So
I think in some ways too, Marlo, that's generational as well. I think the younger people are, the more they're likely to pull out their phones and do that. I just don't think of that because that's not how I was brought up. And so I'm not saying that people my age don't also do that. It's just I think it's far more likely that when you've been raised on this technology, you have a tendency to think about using it more often.
I know that if there's already first responders on the scene, and I'm just thinking of a wildfire I just came by not too long ago. I'm not one to take photos of like accidents that I come across or whatever, but motor vehicle accidents, for example. But a wildfire, I think is interesting, and I'll stop and take video or a photo of a wildfire as long as it's already been tended to. I don't need to call in to let them know that there's this wildfire going on out there. So I think in certain situations it's okay, but again, if somebody needs help, I think that should always be the first thing that comes up as opposed to taking the image first,
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah. But we do live in a different time. There's no doubt about it. And I also think it's geographical as well. I mean, we're in a rural area. A lot of people are in big cities.
If you have any questions or want to suggest topics for future shows, visit thetechranch.com and send us your thoughts. You can also listen to past episodes and watch exclusive interviews not featured on the radio show. Be sure to follow Marlo and Steve on social media by clicking the links at thetechranch.com. Until next time, keep exploring the world of living with technology. The Tech Ranch.
Supertalk 1270.
This is Outdoor Issues with Neil Roberts and North Dakota Game and Fish Outreach Biologist Greg Gullickson.
If you ask a North Dakota upland game hunter, they would likely tell you the Chinese ringneck pheasant should be the state bird. Joining me now with Pheasants for the Future is former president of the club, Mike Geetson. And Mike, I know a big reason you're involved is getting kids out hunting. Accurate?
Oh, 100% accurate. The whole focus of the group is to promote opportunity for everybody, but there's a definite emphasis on kids, right? We want to get the kids out of the technology thing and get them out in the field, and for them to spend a day out here with us is awesome.
How early do you start them? I think I see a 15-month-old just out walking around.
Yeah. Kids can take hunter safety, I think, as early as 10, 12 years old. As long as they've got hunter safety, they're welcome to participate with us, that's for sure.
All right. Hey, we'll talk about more with opportunities for kids when we come back.
Absolute Comfort Plumbing and Heating is hiring an experienced plumber and experienced HVAC tech. Competitive pay, full benefits, 6 paid holidays, vacation time, and yearly bonuses. Plus continuous training and a fun work-life balance. Absolute Comfort has over 15 years in the community. Call 701-858-8977 or send your resume to absolutecomfort1@srt.com. Absolute Comfort, where your career gets the comfort it deserves.
From small game rifles to personal protection, Hunter Firearms has it all. Voted #1 gun store in North Dakota, Hunter Firearms has over 1,700 guns at great prices. Benelli, Colt, Kimber, Springfield, plus knives, ammo, and reloading supplies. With a knowledgeable staff providing one-on-one service. Buy, sell, trade. Hunter Firearms in Stanley, off the 4-lane of Highway 2, 45 minutes west of Minot. Monday through Saturday, 10 till 6. HunterFirearmsLLC.com.
We're with former President Mike Geetson with Pheasants for the Future. And Mike, we talked before the break about kids, and recently you guys had a kids weekend. Tell us about that and how that went over.
Sure. In the state of North Dakota, the opening weekend for kids is actually the weekend before it's open for adults. And so we have 2 different locations. We work with local landowners and we get 2 different spots and we set up a hunt with kids only. Obviously, they're the only ones that can carry a gun. We set up clay pigeon throwers. They can do little of that. They got hunter safety instructors, tell them the do's and the don'ts, and then take them out hunting. And we had a bunch of kids and shot a bunch of birds. It was great.
Kids from locally, I know you guys are around the Minot area. Was it kids around that region, or how far do you stretch out?
It's about a 6-county area, so everything's around the Minot, and that's kind of where we focus. That's where we get most of our members, and we're not like Pheasants Forever. We're our own, but everything we put forth is for around here.
All right, good stuff, Mike. Hey, that's Mike Geetson. That concludes this edition. If you missed one, catch us on the website, OutdoorIssues.com. Until next time, I'm Neil Roberts.
You've been listening to Outdoor Issues, brought to you in part by Absolute Comfort in Minot, by Hunter Firearms, Stanley, North Dakota. And enjoy a home-cooked meal at Homesteaders in Minot.
This is the Pet Minute. I'm Steve Dale with animal news from around the world. Next. Your dog loves going to the dog park and seeing his buddies. Maybe sometimes when you travel, he gets to hang out with friends at his favorite boarding facility. Social dogs like yours need more protection than most. By pairing Bordetella Protection, also known as kennel cough, with immunity against canine influenza, we can help ensure these dogs stay healthy. Merck Animal Health wants you to talk with your veterinarian about pairing up for protection with vaccines for your dog for kennel cough and the canine influenza virus. Don't wait. Vaccinate. Being sent to the doghouse now has an all-new meaning at the Enterprise Center, host of St. Louis Blues hockey. When a player now visits the Purina Doghouse, which signifies Blues opponents taking a penalty, that'll trigger a $100 donation from Purina up to $15,000 to local service dog groups and support dog training organizations. For the Pet Minute, I'm Steve Dale.
Jen Silrum in the studio, and we were talking about podcasting, and the first part of this conversation was about what I use for like microphones, and I use the lavaliers. The DJI ones are the ones that I really like, by the way, with the lavs. This has I think they cost a few $100. They're not cheap. I was introduced to these by somebody when I was at Brick Oven Bakery of all places.
Really?
This young lady came in and she had this amazing set of lavs. And I'm like, what is this? And here it's in this little case. And the case actually has, you charge up the case. And as they're sitting in the case, it charges the 2 lavs. And it's 2 lavs too. And the sending and receiving unit, which plugs directly into your phone. So again, if you have an iPhone, or I know the new iPhones are USB-C too, but an older one has that adapter to it too. and you can see right on the sender receiver the levels. And there's so many other things. I haven't even played with it much yet, but there's so much that can be done with those. So those are really, really nice if you're looking at getting into some of those. But
still a couple $100 for considering what mics have.
Oh my goodness. I mean, the mic you're talking into right now is probably an $800 mic.
Of course.
So yeah, that's cheap.
Mm-hmm.
Cheap for the kind of quality that you're getting out of that is just incredible. And portable.
Yeah.
That's the other thing. It's so portable. And I discovered that, I didn't know this until the other day, but they have magnets on them too. So like on a t-shirt, tough to clip onto, right? But I can put the magnet in the back of my shirt. Why are you laughing? Oh, I know why you're laughing. You can tell the story. Just realize this.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, Marlo was using his portable mic system and clipped it on underneath his t-shirt with the magnet that was there, but also happened to get some chest hairs underneath that. And they pulled out when he took them off, and he was over there just in pain because of so.
Yeah. So my suggestion to anybody who has chest hair to be careful with the magnet are just, it's a little painful when you pull them out accidentally. So anyway, you also want to host your program. So there's all kinds of places to host. My suggestion usually is that you want to build a website around your podcast. And then when you can write about the show that you did then, and then they can post it out to Facebook and things like that. And then part of that WordPress scenario in this podcast or in the website, because using a WordPress for a website here, there are some plugins like PowerPress by Blueberry, and you can actually then just from your WordPress upload your program, and then it goes into Blueberry, and from Blueberry it goes to Spotify and all of the Apple podcasts and all of the others. There's like 20, 25 of them that are out there for these platforms. And then you get this one-to-many scenario, so you don't have to individually go out and drop them into all these different places. It just does it for you through an RSS feed, and it's wonderful in that regard. So it can be, it's still a little work. I think with AI, that's really helped a lot, because I'll drop the transcript from the show, like the Absurdist, for example, into ChatGPT, and then I'll have it write a summary of the show, because I never know what we're going to talk about. There's no script to the Absurdist. We're just being absurd, And but it allows you to write pretty quickly about that, and then you can post it up there. It'll even create images for you and all that stuff right in AI. So it really, really simplifies that process.
Haven't you said though that you've encountered some difficulties in getting your to Spotify?
Yeah,
there's services like that.
There are some challenges. I mean, you don't automatically get on those platforms. They do their due diligence with you as well. So, they have to maintain their, whatever you want to call it in the industry. So they don't want to have everybody that's got a bad podcast on their platforms as well. So they're really careful about that. But once you get on there, then you're on there, So, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So it's good. So yeah, if you have any other questions on that, anybody, feel free to reach out to us at thetechranch.com, and we're happy to help. Even Jim would be happy to be on your show. He loves this.
Yes, I do.
Bringing his 2 fans along.
KLXX AM, Mandan, Bismarck, a town square media station, broadcasting from the View Community Credit Union Studio.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. President-elect Trump's team working to fill positions and carve out his administration's agenda for the second term. The White House says the President Biden and President-elect Trump will meet Wednesday in the Oval Office. Republicans have already gained control of the Senate, and more than a dozen House races are still undecided this weekend. ABC's Christian Cordero has details.
Republicans certainly seem to have the edge in getting to 218 first. But a lot of the races that haven't yet been called are in California and Arizona, which we know take longer to count their ballots because of things like day of ballot drop-off and mail-in voting. And we saw in 2020 how that ended up favoring Democrats at the last minute. So we'll see. But certainly Republicans have the upper hand.
Officials in Qatar today saying they've suspended key talks between Israel and Hamas until both sides show, quote, serious political willingness to reach a Gaza ceasefire deal. And heavy rain and possible flash flood alerts posted in parts of the South this weekend. This is ABC News. A stabbing attack in Seattle's Chinatown and Little Saigon neighborhoods Friday during the day remains under investigation. 2 people also remain in the hospital in critical condition.
5 stabbings in broad daylight Friday shocked Seattle residents.
We expect to be safe, but 5 random stabbings, yeah.
That was after 5 other people were stabbed on Thursday, bringing the total to 10 over 2 days.
I feel super unsafe, actually. Extremely unsafe. It's not safe for anybody to come down here.
Authorities believe the same person carried out the attacks, and as they investigate, they say the stabbings appear to be random. Brian Clark, ABC News.
Much of the nation dealing with dry or drought-like conditions. The brush fire broke out in Brooklyn's Prospect Park. New York City is under a drought watch. Fire crews were able to douse those flames. Officials have issued an air quality advisory due to the smoke. And firefighters are also battling brush fires in New Jersey. Michelle Franzen, ABC News.
Give the star in your life the brightest gift in the world. Name a star after them. This is Rocky Moselle with International Star Registry. For $59 and a call to 800-282-3333 or visit starregistry.com, you can name a star for birthdays, weddings, or even memorials. Over 45 years, we have named millions of stars for celebrities and individuals from around the world. The star you name will be recorded in book form in the U.S. Copyright Office. Visit starregistry.com or call 800-282-3333.
Do you hear that? Asthma triggers are everywhere, from dust mites, pet dander, and pollen, to smog and smoke. An asthma attack can strike anywhere, anytime. Be prepared with quick-acting Primatene Mist. Clinically proven to open airways quickly. It's the #1 FDA-approved asthma inhaler available over the counter. Primatene Mist. Breathe easy again. Use as directed.
Supertalk 1270, Bismarck area weather.
With weather, I'm Corey Hartman. For today, rain is likely, highs near 50. Tonight, mostly cloudy, lows around 37. Mostly sunny for Sunday, with highs in the mid-50s. Clouds and breezy Sunday night, lows around 30. Little breezy for Veterans Day Monday, otherwise mostly sunny and 43. If you're looking for a new place to live, stay, work, or play, check out Worthington, Minnesota. It's worth a look. Right now, it's 49.
From ABC Sports, I'm Joey Waller. Right now, college football fourth quarter scores. Ohio State busting Purdue 45-zip. Georgia Tech surprising Miami 28-16. Texas all over Florida 49-10. Quinn Ewers 4 touchdown passes, 2 to Matthew Golden. Rutgers coming from behind for a 23-16 lead on Minnesota. Boston College leads Syracuse 37-28. And West Virginia headed Cincinnati 31-21. Elsewhere, pitching phenom Roki Sasaki's Japanese team saying today it will begin the process of posting him, paving his entry into MLB next season. NBA last night against the Warriors, the streaking Cavaliers with another win.
Clearly, everyone was locked in right from the jump, so that's a great way to respond. We got to just keep that going. Stack days.
Cavs big man Evan Mobley reacting. The franchise record start for the Cavs now 10-0. Knicks hand the Bucks their 6th straight loss, dropping Milwaukee to 2-7. Giannis complaining his team lacks effort.
I feel like sometimes we hold the ball. They play totally opposite from us. Whenever the ball swung, they were driving and kicking. We got so many wide open threes. They got in the paint. Hey, man, if you don't want to be here, you can leave. If you don't want to be here, you can leave.
Florida basketball coach Todd Golden reportedly the subject of a Title IX investigation, allegations of sexual harassment and stalking from multiple women, including students. Number 11 Auburn tonight visiting 4th-ranked Houston on the hardwood. En route there yesterday, the flight crew ordering the Tigers plane to return to Alabama, telling ground control 2 players were fighting. They're reportedly Ja'Kai Howard and Jaheim Hudson. A replacement flight later used. No comment so far from Auburn. NHL right now, they're in the 3rd. Flames a 2-1 lead on the Wild. Joey Waller, ABC Sports.
Bioptimizer's Black Friday blowout sale is now. For 20 years, Bioptimizers has provided top supplements like Magnesium Breakthrough, the only product with all 7 types of magnesium to support sleep, stress management, hormone balance, and mood. Make your health a priority this holiday season and visit bioptimizers.com/radio and use code RADIO to get a minimum of 10% off and up to $100 in free gifts with purchase. Go to bioptimizers.com/radio and use code RADIO to...
Offer not valid in all states or where prohibited by law. Loans are subject to lender approval. See website for details.
Honey, the credit card bill came, and we're maxed out.
Maxed out cards, rent is due. We just need some extra cash to help us get by.
Maybe we should go to 27cash.com.
With our bad credit?
27cash.com is one of the largest personal loan networks. They can help people with any type of credit get up to $5,000, and cash can hit our bank account as soon as tomorrow.
When you need extra cash, go to 27cash.com. That's 27cash.com. 27cash.com.
It's all about the pets. Steve Dale's Pet World. Saturday afternoon at 4 on Super Talk 1270.
Portions of the following program are pre-recorded.
Welcome to the Tech Ranch, where we explore the world of living with technology. Get ready to take a deep dive into the latest gadgets, apps, and innovations with your hosts, the Guru of Geek, Marlo Anderson, and his trusty co-host, Steve Bakken. Join us on this exciting journey, and don't forget to visit thetechranch.com for even more exclusive content. Now, without further ado, let's welcome Marlo and Steve to the Tech Ranch.
And welcome back, everybody. We are talking about how you save money with your smart device. You know, how you actually can justify, if you're spending $100 or $200 a month with your devices, that this is actually saving you money as opposed to costing you money. It's just kind of a way to say, hey, you know, maybe it's okay I spend a couple $100 on this thing because I'm saving $500 a month over here or whatever that is. Not saying that you're not spending too much. I know I spend too much on mine, but I justify it. Jim and I have been talking about how about photographs for the last or taking photos for the last 2.5 segments, and we're going to move on, Jim.
Thank you.
Because I think we both have a love of photography.
Absolutely.
When you were talking about taking pictures of scenes and, you know, of scenic things or whatever, as opposed to maybe more images of people, you and I are kindred spirits there.
Okay.
Because I am the same way. I say we're going to stop talking about this in here and talk about it again. Are you familiar with Around the World? It is a kind of a road. It used to be really popular in the Mandan area here. And you go out west about 4 or 5 miles and you hop on a road that goes by a little town called Lyons. It's not really there anymore, but and then this kind of takes you through this river valley and then around, and then you end up back in Mandan. That's why it's called Around the World.
Oh.
And it's so picturesque.
Okay.
All the wildlife and the river valleys, and, you know, you run into some kind of forested areas, and especially in the fall when the leaves are changing. It's just stunningly beautiful. And it's an annual tradition of mine to go out and do that and just take photos.
Okay.
I mean, I actually purposefully go and take photos of this stuff, and when the sunflowers are, you know, full heads I go out on a nice sunny day and I see those fields that go on forever. I mean, I have to take photos of these things.
I do too.
So I understand that. But anyway, so we're going to get on to other ways to save money, other apps that you have, anything else that you use your phone for that saves money for you.
I think of a number of ways that I use my phone, but mostly it saves me time because, you know, I don't have to go and find a calculator to calculate something.
Sure.
Because I've got a calculator in my phone. It's just things of that nature that just save me a whole lot of time. And unfortunately, it usually saves me so much time that I can just do more things.
Yes.
But that's not the phone's problem. That's mine.
So maybe not so much money saving then, but what other things do you use your phone for a lot besides GPS and taking photos?
Good question, Marlo. I'm trying to rack through my day.
So are you not using AI yet on your phone?
I'm not. To be honest with you, I'm not. I intend to, though. If I'm being creative like that, because I generally tend to use AI to assist me in my creativity.
Do you speak to? And I guess I haven't really done this on my computer yet so much. I've been thinking about setting it up, but I just talk to my phone, to ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever. I'm assuming that we can do that on our desktops and laptops as well, right?
As long as you have a microphone on it.
Yeah. Have you done that at all?
I have not.
Oh, okay. Okay. But you've seen me talk to ChatGPT before.
Of course.
So, yeah, I guess you've been in the car when I've been working on stuff. So I think, as we move forward, the ability to have a device that has artificial intelligence built into it is, I'm thinking about all the money saving type of things that could be going on. In my opinion, that is the biggest. Mm-hmm. Because that ability to, take a photo, put it into, and I'm just going to pick on ChatGPT because I use that the most right now. I mean, that's going to change, I'm sure. And I don't know. I mean, ChatGPT is always advancing too. I'll take a picture. I don't know what this plant is. Can you tell me? Yes, it's poison ivy. Well, that's what I thought, but I wasn't sure. I guess I'm not going to walk through this field now. And I'm picking on that for a reason more than just being fun about it, right? I mean, if I walk through a field full of poison ivy, then my next trip might be a trip to the doctor, right? Because I might need something to calm my skin down or whatever it is. I might need a prescription for something. So knowledge is important, and knowledge can save you money and time. I mean, the trip to the doctor would cost me hundreds of dollars, sure. Right? I'm about ready to buy a home, and I have this ability to have ChatGPT right there. I can actually have them send me the document, or I can take pictures of the document that I'm about ready to sign and ask it, hey, is there anything I should be careful of before I sign this? And ChatGPT will say, and you always start it off and say, hey, ChatGPT, you're representing me as I'm buying this car or this house, and here's some paperwork I want you to analyze. And snap, 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 snap. You take some photos, and it'll come back and say, well, Marlo, it says that the interest is 4.6 over here, but over in this other paper, it's 7.2, and you should get that clarified or whatever, So I'm just making stuff up here, but I use it all the time for these type of things. And the kind of money, I'm just picking on attorney fees, and I'm not trying to take work away from attorneys when I say this, by the way. I don't think most attorneys like to look over like NDAs and stuff like this. They'd rather spend their time doing other stuff. Because I know this for a fact, because I'll send stuff over that's just a review of a contract, and it takes weeks sometimes to get it back because they're just like, I'll just get to it when I get to it type of thing. And but you need an opinion now, right? So these are the things that I think it really helps you with, and the ability to save money over this is significant.
It truly is. Yeah.
So I'm just, and I'm only giving you a couple case studies. I mean, there's just so much more. Budgeting, for example, there's I'll be talking about this in a little bit, this ability to use ChatGPT, for example, to budget for you.
Okay.
So you could set up a thread in ChatGPT. You could say, this is what I make every month. These are the bills that I pay every month. And then since it knows that, every time you open up, you can then open up the thread and say, hey, I'm looking at these pair of sneakers. Can I afford this or not? Well, no, maybe you can't, and then every time you go out to dinner, you just open it up and say, hey, I spent $14.32 on lunch today. So then that's all there is to it. And it'll keep track of it for you. At the end of the month, it'll say, hey, this is what you spent on food. This is what you spent on entertainment. This is what you spent on beer, which for Jam would be a big amount. And then, but it would detail all this stuff for you. And all you have to do is talk to it.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty impressive.
It is very impressive.
So anyway, I think AI is going to be the most significant thing that you have in your phone moving forward. And when I say moving forward, from this day forward.
You've returned to the Tech Ranch, where technology is our passion. Let's jump back into the conversation with Marlo and Steve.
And Jim Silverman and I are talking about apps and our favorite apps. And in the last segment, we talked about Acorns and
Skyview and
Aurora. Yep. Some fun little apps. And I don't know if you've ever heard of this one before. Now, it's called What 3 Words?
No.
So this is clever. As I try to open up on my phone, and it keeps stopping for whatever reason. I haven't used it for a little while, but so What 3 Words, what it does is basically every square foot on the planet has been assigned a What 3 Words location. Okay? So where you're standing or at your house, for example, might be my cushion light. And where we're at right now might be mic, computer, keyboard. So a 3-word combination will get you there. And their premise is that it's easy to remember 3 words. Okay. And then on the app, you can just look up those 3 words and it will take you to that spot. So instead of being, our address here is 712 West Main Street, Mandan, North Dakota, 58554. My What 3 Words address is those 3 words.
Okay.
Easy to remember, whatever. And you might not think that that's such a thing, but if I'm trying to explain to you where I'm at a concert with 100,000 people. Jim, I'm over by the Coke machine, by the, third exit from whatever. Or I could just look on What 3 Words and give you those 3 words.
Really?
And then you could look on What 3 Words too, and it would guide you to those 3 words.
Wow.
It's clever, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. And at some time, I expect that this is going to really take off. It's been around for a couple of years, and for whatever reason to this point hasn't really taken off a whole lot. But I also believe in that same concept that remembering 3 words. I mean, imagine, this is how I think about this, right? Imagine instead of, speaking of the address, like the postal service, right? Delivering boxes and stuff, right? Do you have to fill out all that stuff anymore, or could you just use What 3 Words?
True.
And wouldn't that be a lot easier? Here's my address, Jim, 712 West Main Street, Mandan, North Dakota, 58554. That's actually an easy address to remember. But there are a lot of people who have, Acorn Lane and, Timothy Smith Boulevard or whatever it is, right? And then you have the numbers and the city and everything else. How do you spell that? All this other stuff. If it's just What 3 Words and they're simple words, I mean, my goodness, you'd be able to, everybody could remember these things, right? So anyway, I think it's cool. I'm just sharing my love of What 3 Words, I guess. I've never really used it with anybody, but I have used it on occasion when I've been at places because I'm just curious what the 3 words are for this location at this bridge over the Missouri River or whatever.
Okay. Okay. I can understand that.
So, yeah. So I have that on my phone. Social media, do you use your phone for social media at all?
The only ones I dabble in at all are Facebook and LinkedIn.
Okay.
But
do you ever post anything to Facebook?
I'm not really an excessive user, I wouldn't say.
Do you ever post anything to Facebook from your phone? Okay. Let's see. Under Google, I'm just going to look under my Google stuff for a little bit. So I got Google Lens in there, so I wasn't sure if that was still a thing or not. Oh, Translate. Do you ever use it for translation?
Yes, I do.
Oh, well, there you go. So tell me about your translation experience.
Sometimes I'll want to know how to say something in Norwegian, supposedly my birth language, and I don't know Norwegian, but or it could be Spanish, could be any language, and I can get the translation easily enough.
Have you ever had a conversation with somebody using Translate?
I have not.
Okay. So you've used it basically just as finding out what a word says or what it means on a piece of paper or whatever.
Exactly.
So, okay.
But you have had
I have, yeah, a couple times. Nothing major, but Spanish and French are the two that I've used it for. And it's not perfect. It's not like it's fluent as in, you and I are having a conversation, but it certainly allows you to have a conversation. When you pull your phone out and you speak English into it and it spits out Spanish, the other person then understands what's going on, and then they can speak theirs, and then I'll understand what they're saying. And it's just a process, but it's kind of cool that way. There are some translation technologies coming out now that are even better and will translate on the fly. You just put an earpiece in, and if you're speaking Spanish to me, all I hear is that. And then the same thing is true the other way. It's like maybe a second or two delay. It's pretty good, which is kind of cool. Let's see. Well, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Ace Putt, I guess. And that's coming along. We'd spent a lot of work on it this week too. So it's a new way to play miniature golf, everybody. So if you're in the Google Play Store, you can go get Ace Putt right now if you like miniature golf. Security cams. Do you have any security cams that you monitor?
The only one I presently use is Ring.
Okay.
And
so then you have that hooked up to your phone?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's great. That's a great use right there. So the Ring scenario, everybody, is when you have somebody that rings your doorbell, that it goes off on your smart device as well. So you could be in Texas, right? And you can answer your front door. Have you done this before?
I have not.
Okay. But it is possible.
It is.
Yeah. And it is a cool feature. So if somebody is at your front doorstep or whatever, and it's somebody with a package or whatever, you can actually have a conversation. And if you don't like who's there, you don't have to answer the door, and they don't have to realize, are you in the home or not?
Right.
That's the other thing about it. So it's a great security type of thing as well. Evernote. Do you use Evernote?
Not in a while.
Okay. So. Do you have another note-taking app that you prefer?
Good question. I just use voice recording.
Okay.
For that.
Okay. So you just record and then okay. So
and I'm really waiting for our Tap Note.
Oh yeah. Which is our other app we're developing. I am too, actually. I'm very anxious for Tap Note to come out. Evernote though is great. I keep all of my username and passwords in there and all that good stuff. So, and if I ever have to go back, even the Tech Ranch, the notes for this show, I'll have them in there. So if I have to refer back in the future, I always have those, which is great. Searchable and all that good stuff too.
Welcome back to the Tech Ranch. Let's get back to discovering the latest in technology with the guru of geek, Marlo Anderson.
Had to do it one more time, Jim.
Okay. Thanks, Marlo.
There's always something about the theme to Rocky, right? The very first couple. So, but yes, everybody, Jim Silverum in the studio for one more segment anyway.
For this time
anyway. Hey, thanks everybody for coming along for the ride today. We've had quite the conversation all over the place. We've been talking about money saving on how you use your phone to save money and that type of thing. And I've had conversations around this in the past, and I think this would be a good time to just kind of bring this out even a little bit more. And that's the ability to create budgets and that type of thing using artificial intelligence. And I'll just pick on ChatGPT since I don't, and this isn't a blanket, endorsement of ChatGPT all the time, everybody. I just use ChatGPT a lot. I know that people use Gemini. You use Gemini a lot, right, Jim?
I do not.
Oh, okay. You're using ChatGPT as well? Okay. And then, but I know some people who do use Gemini. I've been using Claude quite a bit lately too. CLAUDE. I like the writing, that Claude does.
Okay.
So I would highly recommend that. Claude also has been coming out with a lot of programming. So if you're thinking about that you need to build an app or something along those lines, that's interesting. there is, I'm really getting off rabbit hole time here. So Claude is really, it's really impressive actually what they have come out with as far as programming goes. So if you needed to build a little application for your business or something like that, they would probably help you with that a lot. The other thing is Cursor. Cursor is C-U-R-S-E-R. Is that right? No, C-U-R-S-O-R.
Right.
Okay. That's an AI that I haven't played with it. I've been really, I've looked at it. There's a download feature to it. If you know anything about programming at all, this will significantly accelerate your skill.
Okay.
It's as simple as that. Supposedly, and you can't, because I haven't done this yet, I don't know, but supposedly if you know a little bit about what you're talking about, you can talk to Cursor, just like you talk to ChatGPT, tell it what you want for an app, and it'll start building it for you.
Mm.
That's incredible.
That's very incredible.
And then that can combine with another app or something, and you're able to actually use that to post it to the Apple Store or Google Play Store. So, I mean, we're getting really, really close to being able to come up with ideas, and then it just does it for you, which is absolutely incredible. So, especially when I've spent all this money building apps the last year, but you know, that's what I think about. But I actually had quite the conversation even with our developers the last couple of days about Cursor and Claude, and if you're actually using these tools to accelerate. I think developers are always like, oh my goodness, when I'm done with this job, what am I going to do next? So I had to assure them that I have so much work that, you know, we just need to start monetizing these projects so I can continue to pay you for the next 8 or 10 or 20 years, right? You have a full-time job.
Right.
Just get it done while we can so we can monetize the project so you can continue to get paid. Because the challenge is that if you don't get it done, you're going to be out of work because we can't afford you anymore. So, yeah, so that's what they have to understand. But anyway, budgeting. So ChatGPT is a great way to set up a budget. Have you ever thought about this?
I have not.
So if you, again, just talk to ChatGPT, get out what you make in your family or yourself or whatever, and then tell it what you have for your mortgage or rent, what your utilities are, all these fixed expenses that you have, and then it understands that. And then every time, and I don't think you have to, this is what I would do anyway. I wouldn't work on a budget right away. I would do this for a month or two. It knows your fixed expenses, and every time you spend money on something, you just open up that thread in ChatGPT and say, hey, I spent $3.22 on coffee.
Mm-hmm.
And I spent $14.32 at this Mexican restaurant, and I bought a pair of shoes today at Walmart for, $38.12. I would do this for a month or two, and then so that it understands who you are.
Okay.
And then it will create a budget for you.
Mm-hmm.
And say, this is what you're spending on coffee, this is what you're spending on beer, this is what you're spending on all this other stuff. And I think then, were we just talking about this? No. Not the beer part.
We talked about it briefly. And
okay.
You teased that
that's right.
Spend an awful
too much
lot of money
beer.
on beer.
Oh, that's right, because we were talking about budgeting and things or whatever. But, yeah, so that's what I would do.
Okay.
And then you'd have this running tally. You could have a real insight into what you're spending your money on.
Mm-hmm.
And ChatGPT then would probably come up with ways for you to save money.
Sure.
So
I wonder if I'm one of those people who always verifies everything I spend on my credit card with a receipt. I'm very good about that, and I know that my credit card accounts do this somewhat in terms of categorizing this. But yes. I wonder if banking institutions or credit card companies are going to start using AI to offer that as a service to those who use their cards and to help them with the budgeting process.
That would kind of make sense.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of people, I don't know. I mean, are you a more of a credit card user or a bank card user or debit card user?
Credit card.
Okay. And I think most people are that way because we get better perks with credit cards, right? Yeah. So bank cards don't tend to have, they don't usually charge the interest or the fees to businesses, I should say. They're a little lower that way. And most businesses would prefer if you used a debit card because the fee is less to them. But I think generally we use credit cards for the perks that the consumers get. So, yeah.
I think the difficult thing that exists with all of this is, let's just pick on Walmart. I may go to Walmart and buy groceries, but I might also buy car supplies. I might also buy fertilizer for my yard, all in the same purchase.
Right.
And so it's kind of hard unless you take the time to break down your receipt.
And you could read that to ChatGPT, and it would, I think that'd be a quick way to do that and to categorize things a little bit. So anyway, everybody, we are out of time.
Again?
Crazy. Thanks for coming along for the ride today, everybody. We really appreciate it. And I guess until next time, stay geeky. Is that a thing? Take care, everybody.
See ya.
And that's a wrap on another fantastic episode of the Tech Ranch. Remember, if you have any questions or want to suggest topics for future shows, visit thetechranch.com and send us your thoughts. You can also listen to past episodes and watch exclusive interviews not featured on the radio show. Be sure to follow Marlo and Steve on social media by clicking the links at thetechranch.com. Until next time, keep exploring the world of living with technology.